Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And on screen today we have a puzzle by Prasanna Seshadri, the genius constructor from India. And this is actually one of my favourite Sudoku variations. When I used to compete in the World Sudoku Championship, if I saw that there was an XV Sudoku, I would definitely hone in on it. My belief was that I was relatively efficient at solving them, but I'm probably about to prove that false today. But it's definitely, as I say, one of my favourite types to play. Now, I'll tell you the rules in a second. A couple of things I want to mention first. A quick shout out for our Miracle Sudoku app, which has been out now for a couple of weeks. It's been getting the most lovely reviews. It's fantastic to read, actually. We are thrilled about it. So if you think you might enjoy another Sudoku app with handcrafted puzzles, then do check it out. And if you're a patron of the channel, on Patreon we have two treats for you today. We have our bonus monthly puzzles, which are Tour de France themed this month. So there are two Tour de France themed Sudokus. They're linked, and they're a lot of fun. And then we also have Mark's Solve of the Times crossword monthly special. Now, as you know, if you follow the channel, I'm not bad at crosswords myself. And I have to say, watching Mark plough through that puzzle without a dictionary is as close to watching genius as you will ever see. It really is stunning. I do not think there is another person on the planet who could do it. In fact, I will go further than that. I do not think there is another person on the planet who could get close to doing what he does with that puzzle. So, do check it out. If you're interested in watching genius at work in a word sense, it is very much worth watching. Now, the eagle-eyed among you may notice that I seem to be using different software today, and indeed I am. Thanks to our friendly neighbourhood programming hero Sven, our new software is nearly ready for you guys to try. I'm going to be trying to use it in today's video. We're very proud of it. We've been working very hard with our friends over on Discord on it, and it really is a joy to use. It's going to have lots of features that I think you guys have been asking for the last couple of years, and now I think we're getting close to being able to deliver some of those for you. See what you think as I'm clicking through the puzzle. Now let me read you the rules. What have we got? We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Whenever two orthogonally adjacent cells sum to 10, there is an X between them. So you can see there are a few instances of that in the grid. Whenever two orthogonally adjacent cells sum to 5, there is a V between them. V's here and here. X and V is obviously because X is the Roman numeral for 10, V is the Roman numeral for 5. The digits in each circle must appear at least once in the 4 surrounding cells. So that means that in these 4 cells here, there must be at least one 5 and at least one 7. In this one, the numbers 1, 2, 3 and 4 just have to appear in some order. Now, do I have any tips for XV Sudoku? I most certainly do. It is crucial to pay attention to the negative constraint, i.e. we don't just know that these two squares add up to 10, we know for absolute certain that those two squares do not add up to 10, and nor do very many other dominoes in this grid. As you can see, there are only, in fact, 3 instances of cells with dominoes adding up to 10, and it's often extremely important to keep a track of that if you want to solve these with alacrity. So anyway, do have a go first. The way to play, of course, is to click the link under the video, and with that I get to play. Let's get cracking. And in fact, I'm going to start there. Why not? Those squares have got to be 1, 2, 3 and 4. These squares have got to be, so these squares have got to be 1, 2, 3 and 5. So immediately we should be thinking about what those 3 squares have to be. They have to be the digits 1, 2 and 3. Now how do I know that? Well, if I know that in box 1 the 1, 2 and the 3 are definitely in row 2 and row 3, and I know in box 3 the 1, 2 and 3 are definitely in rows 2 and rows 3, I can't put 1, 2 and 3 in those squares, and I can't put 1, 2, 3 in those squares. So where do I put 1, 2 and 3 in row 1? Well, the only available cells are those 3. And in fact, immediately we can use the negative constraint. I've got to make sure the 1 plays gooseberry here. It's got to keep the 2 and the 3 are desperate to get together, but we mustn't let them. So we've got to keep the 1 between them. Otherwise, obviously, if we don't do that, if we put a 2 or a 3 in this square here, then necessarily the 3 will have to be on one side or the other, and there should be a V between those 2 cells. So actually we know for sure this is 1 and this is a 2-3 pair. Now, what is this domino then? It can't be 1-9, it can't be 2-8, it can't be 3-7, so that's got to be 4-6. We can't put a 4 next to a 1 without there being a V, so that's a 6 and that's a 4. So there's no 4 in those squares. There's a 4 up here by Sudoku because there must be a 4 in this domino. And I guess those 3 squares have got to be 7, 8, 9 because they're the only digits that haven't yet appeared in row 2 of the grid. There must be a 5 in this domino here, and there's therefore no 5 in these 2 squares. Ah, no, hang on. Right, now we've done a trick with the 1, 2 and 3 at the top, but look, that trick propagates all round the grid because Prasanna has put the digits 1, 2 and 3 in every one of these 2x2s. Look, this section here has to be 1, 2, 3 and 5. This has to be 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the digits 1, 2 and 3 have to appear in these 3 squares. So where are we going to put 1, 2 and 3 in column 1? They have to go into those 3 squares. This time, the 2 and the 3 are allowed to get close to each other because there is a V. So in fact, the 1 must go there. Same at the bottom. Where does the 1, 2 and 3 go in row 9? They can only go in those 3 cells. And again, the 2 and the 3 are allowed to go on a date together. 1, 2 and 3 in column 9 must be in these 3 squares. This time the 1 has to play gooseberry again because there's no V. Now I've seen 2 things here. Let's look at 1s first. Where does 1 go? In the middle box. In fact, I can now double click 1. Look at that. And it lights everything up. It's really nice. Well, you can see by Sudoku, 1 has to go into this square, which is next to an X, so this has to be a 9. Now, the other thing I noticed was this X now can't be 1, 9, 2, 8, or 3, 7, so this is 4, 6. Now, there's a 6 up there, so that's 6, that's 4. This now, in fact, neither of those can be a 4 because of the 4 here. So there's a 4 in one of those 2 squares, a 4 down here. These squares have got to be 5, 7, and 8 to complete this box. So there's no 5 over here. There's a 5 in this domino, and there's a 5 down there. Now this is lovely. This is lovely. Look, where we don't know much. We know so little about 5s, but it's still enough to allow us to place a 5 in the grid. We know one of those 2 squares is a 5, and I know one of these 6 squares is a 5. I have no idea which one of these 6 squares is a 5, and I don't care. At least I don't care yet, because I know that there are exactly 2 5s in this grid, in column 7 and column 8. And I know that those 5s must appear in these 8 cells. So they definitely don't appear down here, or I'd have a third 5 in column 7 and column 8. So this square must be a 5. 5. In fact, have I got this? Yes, I've got the same. It's symmetrical. The 5 has to be up in one of those 3 squares in box 1. And look, the 5's here. The 5 must appear in one of these 6 cells. Combines with this domino, there can't be more 5's in column 2 and 3, so this is a 5. Now, the only thing about 5's is that it's the digit that's the most useless certainly in this variation, because of course it doesn't impact on the X and the V's at all. You can never have a 5 on an X or a V. So you don't get that much power from them. But fours. Fours, look, fours, it's the same trick as the fives. This is beautiful. The same trick. 4 has to appear in one of those 6 cells. And 4 appears in one of those 2 cells. So 4 can't make a third appearance in column 2 and column 3. 4 goes in the corner. And this is more useful because now 4 can't be next to 6, and I haven't penciled 6 into this box yet. 6 can't go here by Sudoku, and it can't go next to a 4 because we haven't got any X's. So 6 goes here. 6 therefore goes here by Sudoku. Which means, what does it mean? That's interesting. Well, it's interesting in many ways. By Sudoku, there must be a 6 there. Oh, it's interesting in low... Oh, now this square can't be a 4 because it would be next to a 6, so the 4 goes here. So 4 must... 4. There's so much going on in this puzzle now. 4s must be in one of these 3 squares but can't be next to the 1. So the 4 goes in one of those 2 cells. 6 is in one of these 3 squares. Now, I've been noticing, look, 4s and 6s getting close to each other. Now, 4 and 6 add to 10, so they cannot be in adjacent cells. So can this square ever be a 4 or a 6? Well, the answer, of course, is no. Because if I put a 4 there, I have to put a 6 here. If I put a 6 here, I have to put the 4 on one side of it. That does not work. So in fact, this square is not a 4 or 6 ever, which means the only place for a 6 in this box now is right in the corner here, which gives us the 4. It's just beautiful. It is beautiful setting. This square, there's so much going on. This square can't be a 4 because it's next to a 6. So this square is a 4. Now, that means one of these 3 squares is a 4. Can't be next to the 1. One of those 2 squares is a 4 because it can't be next to the 6 in this position. But let's come over here again, because we've got the same trick going on with the 4. This can never be a 4 or a 6, because the other digit will have to appear on one side of it or another. So we remove the 4 and the 6. You can see there's only one place left for the 4, which is there. This square becomes the 6. This 4 sees that square, and we get loads of 4s placed. We get the 6 placed by Sudoku. We get another 6 by Sudoku. And this isn't the end of what I've seen. I've seen something else. Hang on a minute. Let me just check this and just see if we can see anything else that because I normally miss a load of things, as you know, because by not being diligent. I'm trying to be diligent, but I really want to look at this triple and this triple. I don't know, but let me look at these triples now, because again, these 2s and 3s, they've definitely got the hots for each other. They keep trying to get close, but we can't let the 2 and the 3 touch, so we can't have that domino contain a 2 or a 3. We can't have this domino contain a 2 or a 3, so the 1 is going to have to keep them apart. Same is exactly true down here. We need the 1 to keep them apart. Now by oh, good grief. You see what's going to happen. You see what's going to happen in these corners now. It's just a lovely, lovely Sudoku puzzle, this. Because now, if those 3 squares can't be a 1, this has to be a 1. This has to be a 1. But the thing I'm noticing, which is gorgeous, is now I've got the same thing, but this time it's the 5's job to play gooseberry between the 2s and the 3s. So this square must be a 5. This square must be a 5. Otherwise the 2 and the 3 would connect. Now, have I? See, I can double click the 1 and immediately see I've got 9 1s. That looks like about 9 4s. And that looks like about 9 6s. 5s are much less good, actually. So maybe we can do some placement of the 5s. Let's have a look at those for a second. 5s. 5s have got to appear here. Oh, now look, there's something interesting. Actually, I missed that. This square is a 1, so this square can't be a 9. Because obviously, in fact, where does 9 go therefore in this box? It can't go next to the 1. So it just goes there because of the rules. So that's a 7 or an 8. 9 must be in this domino. 9 must be here by Sudoku. 9 must be in one of those two squares, and the 1s don't help it. Ah, that 9 helps us though. Get your scanning right, Simon. Where does 9 go in this box? It can't go next to a 1. So it must go here. 9 must be in one of these three. It can't be next to the 1. So the 9... Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. The 9... has to go, yeah, it has to go in one of these 4 cells because it can't go here. Now that means that in these 4 cells there is definitely a 4 and definitely a 9, but we have to put a 5 and a 7 into these 4 cells. So in fact, this square has to be a 5 or a 7. It's still possible that the 5 is here and the 7's here, or even that there's a 7 here and this is a 5. So I don't think we know much more than that. But one thing we do know is we can look at row 6 now and ask where 9 can go, because if this can't be a 9, what cell can be a 9? This 1 rules the roost. It rules 9 out from both of those cells. Actually, 9 is ruled out by that one anyway. But if we can't put 9 next to 1, there's only one cell that can be 9. It's this one. So this square has to be a 5 or a 7 as well in order to ensure that we get a 5 and a 7 in this box. So now do we get... We get a 9 in one of these cells, 7, 8 pair in box 9 into those squares, 7, 8 pair into box 7. In fact, we've got loads of 7, 8s dotted around the grid here. Sevens and 8s. I've got loads of 2, loads of 2, 3 pairs. A great many, as you can see. 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. Right, okay. If we look along row 6, those 2 squares have got to be 5, 7 and 8. 2, 3 pair here means also those squares are 5, 7 and 8. 7, 8. 5, 7, 8 triple in box 5 now. So this is good. This is good. 2, 3 and 9 again. And again we get this question that's come up over and over again. I have no idea how Prasanna has built this into the puzzle so often, but it is beautiful. We have got to keep the 2 and the 3 apart. Therefore we know the position of the 9. And now we know the position of the 9 in box 2, because it can't go in any of those squares by Sudoku, and it can't go next to the 1 because there's no x. So the 9 goes here, which means that's a 9. That's a 7 or an 8. This is a 5, 7, 8 triple. This is a 5, 7, 8 triple. Nearly pencil marked the whole grid, which is not something to be proud of, but anyway. So now we're going to have a I'm going to have a problem, because I've got to somehow disambiguate these 2s, 3s, 7s and 8s, and you can see there are a lot of them. So I was just looking at those dominoes there, but I don't think this because we don't know what the parity is. We just know it, for example, if this is a 2, this will have to be a 7, and then you'll get a 3 and an 8 on that side, or vice versa. So there must be something somewhere that will allow us to disambiguate the ordering. But where is it? I mean, literally, I've got no 7s and 8s at all, and no 2s and 3s. I am not sure at all what I'm meant to be doing. I hope I haven't made a mistake. That would be a disaster in a puzzle this beautiful. That can't be a 9, look. 2, 3. In fact, look where... Yeah, got it. This square is important. This square is restricted. Can this square be an 8? And the answer is, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful logic. Where does the 8 now go in box 5? It has to go here. It has to go here. And now we have a problem in this box because the 2 cannot be next to an 8 because there are no x's, but that means it can't appear anywhere in the box. And we need to put 2 in at least one cell, well, in exactly one cell in the box, otherwise we will not meet the rules of Sudoku. So this tells us this square is not an 8, which gives us a 5, which means this one is an 8. That one's not a 9. I thought I deleted that one, but it's come back. So this square is not an 8. In fact, this 8, look, is going to get us some resolution of this. Yes, it is. It's going to go all around the grid. 8, 7. That square's now become interesting, look, because it's connected to a 7 and it can't be a 3. So let's just finish off doing our duty, though. In fact, this square as well. Both of these squares are fascinating because they're both connected to a 7. There's no x, so they both have to be 2. And hopefully, yeah, look, this is going to be lovely now. That square's got to be a 3, so that's a 3, that's a 2, that's a 3, that's a 2. This is a 3, this is a 3, this is a 2. Yes. 2, 3, 2, 3. 2, 3, and hopefully, yeah, same down here, 2 and 3. So we're just now left with the 5, 7s and the 8s. Now hopefully the 2s and the 3s that we've just put in the grid are going to give us some clarity on where these go. This square can't be a 7 anymore because it's next to a 3. This square can't be an 8 anymore. That one can't be an 8 anymore. Oh, 5, 7 pair in this column. That looks good, doesn't it? Because that means this square's got to be an 8. 5, 7. No 5s in these cells. Oops. 3 here. That one can't be a 7. 5, 8 pair in row 6. This square is a 7. So that's a 5. That's an 8. This is a 7, 8. 5, 7 here. This is an 8. This is a 5. Oh. And what have I... Oh no, I haven't done anything wrong. This little clue comes into its own at the very end. Beautiful again. Look at that. So ordinarily we might have a problem with this pattern, but Prasanna has built this 5, 7 symmetrically in here, which tells us that this square needs to be a 5, otherwise we'll break the rules. Once we put the 5 in there, we can finish it off like this. Let's click check. Yes, that's how to solve it. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I hope you enjoyed that even half as much as I did. That was an absolute pleasure with some just beautiful logic over and over again. It's a stunning puzzle, that. And we'll be back, of course, later on with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.